Ireland is no longer a country of laws. I would argue it's a country of lawlessness. Irish society is fracturing, it's fragmenting, it's going downhill rapidly. The Irish government, if you could call it that, it's a ramshackle collection of useful idiots and not so useful idiots, has completely lost control of what's going on. In fact, they've given away most control, that's fair to say, to the EU and to American global multinationals. But even the day-to-day things that they're supposed to be doing, they really have no idea. Yeah, this is my impression of the people in government currently in Ireland. This is my exact impression of how they operate. And that's me being kind. Now, one of the main reasons that things are going out of control is because we don't have the right people in charge. We have very, very amateur people who have inflated egos, narcissism off the charts, but when it comes to actually getting things done, they really aren't at the races. Just take Micheál Martin, for example. If talking and waffling was an Olympic sport, Micheál Martin would be a reigning champion for the last 20 or 30 years and a proud hero of the nation. But it isn't, and he isn't. In fact, unfortunately for all of us, he managed to, by some kind of osmosis, end up at the top of Fianna Fáil, one of the main parts of the government uni-party, which is Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael. Add to that Simon Harris, another man who could talk for Ireland, but in terms of doing anything, no, not really, not so much. So Ireland, on many fronts, is just a runaway train at this stage. It's just a bucking bronco with a hapless rider desperately trying to stay on board. They're absolutely intent on pumping up the population of the country, of this island, through completely artificial means, as in mass immigration. They're doing nothing to encourage the native birth rate at all, and have said they won't. They have no interest in that whatsoever. They want to influx people from all over the globe, and more importantly, from some of the most dangerous, dysfunctional, and backward parts of the globe. Hello, Somalia. And here's the kicker. By pumping up the population by a couple of million in maybe 20, 25 years, which they have done, they've also influxed some very, very dangerous types of people from very dangerous places. But they have not increased the prison capacity. The legal system is buckling. It's absolutely broken. We don't have the prisons. In fact, our prison population as of today, I believe, is currently running at 124% of capacity. Yes, you heard that right. And that is, along with the fact that, and I know because I read this stuff constantly, they are not jailing many, many people who absolutely should be jailed and in a normal functioning society would be jailed. So they're not jailing criminals who should be jailed, and they're now letting out criminals who are in jail, because the whole thing is gone completely awry. Now, even back in the early 2000s, that's 20 years ago, before everything went completely and utterly doolally on the mass immigration front, the government back then realised that the prison service was completely antiquated and not fit for purpose. And they had bought this site in Thornton Hall, North Dublin, for 30 million euros, about 150 acres, which was an absolute travesty of purchasing at the time, because it was bought for vastly more than it was worth, as was revealed in various investigations. Anyway, they were going to build what they called at the time a super prison there. State-of-the-art, modern, all different facilities for different types of criminals there. It's going to be brilliant, but would have held about 2,200, give or take. Then that was the plan 20 years ago. Did they do it? No. No, they didn't. They didn't bother. They bought the site, spent the money, paid the money, and then did nothing. But what they did do was inflate the population and fill it and cram it and ram it full of people from the most dangerous parts of the world who went on, spoiler alert, to commit crimes left, right and centre. So now we have an inflated number of criminals, increased by tens, if not hundreds of thousands, and we still have the same prison service we had back when Ireland was a safe, homogenous country. Oh, those days. How I wish they'd come back. And perhaps someday they will. So check this latest nugget of absolute gold from the Irish Prison Service. They're now urging, according to Grip Media, they're now urging the Department of Justice, that's Jim O'Callaghan, you know that man who's great on expelling illegal immigrants. He sends 30 or 32 away to Georgia mostly every few months. Forgive me for being somewhat underwhelmed. Yes, they're urging the Justice Department to temporarily release, whatever that means, prisoners, not low-level prisoners, shoplifters or whatever, and that's still a crime, and you should be punished for it, absolutely. No, they want mid-level criminals and criminals who could possibly be dangerous to society. They want to let them out too. Why? Because they've no space for them. They've no space for them, even though the judges are, and I'm sure on direction from the powers that be, not jailing a vast number of people who absolutely should be jailed. They're doing everything but jailing them. Why? Because there's nowhere to put them. Because joined up thinking and the Irish government class, never the twain shall meet. I mean, who could have possibly imagined in their wildest dreams that importing massive amounts of people from some of the most dangerous and dysfunctional parts of the world might lead to an increase in crime and an increase of a potential prison population? Well, nobody except, well, you and me, your pet dog or cat, possibly your pet parrot. Nobody apart from that, certainly nobody in the Irish government. It will come as no news to any of you that we are being governed by imbeciles, possibly morons. I always get the two mixed up, but one or the other, that's for sure. But don't worry, friends, I have the solution. Cometh the hour, cometh the man, and cometh the solution. The government is very, very keen, and has been keen for quite a while now, to enter into public-private partnerships. Well, I've got a public-private partnership for just this situation. Behold Nabili Bukele of El Salvador. That man's built a prison for the ages. Oh, he's built a mega prison. He has built the prison to end all prisons. And whilst we here in Ireland have nowhere to put criminals, he's got plenty of place to put any criminals that you'd like to send his way. For a small fee, of course, but of course the Irish government is throwing money left, right and centre at everything. Well, I say, why not throw it in a way that makes sense? A way to jail dangerous people. How about that? That's, to my mind, a far better use of taxpayers' money than throwing it at stupid NGOs who only want to unravel and destroy our society, or any other amount. And there's no shortage of absolute nonsensical government-backed projects. And behold where we could be sending our dangerous criminals. Instead of Mountjoy, send them here.
It looks like a sea of skin and tattoos. These images, released by El Salvador's government, shows the transfer of about 2,000 inmates, stripped to their shorts and with their heads shaved, to what's been dubbed the country's new mega prison. It just opened. It's believed to be the largest prison in the Americas, with a capacity for 40,000 people, and it's the latest step in a controversial crackdown on crime that's caused the country's prison population to soar.
That's the prison for Joseph Puska. I want him in that prison, not in Mountjoy. I want him in that prison. I want him there. I want his whole family there. That man is not a man. He's a monster. He's a demon. He's evil. And since we don't have the death penalty, unfortunately, for people like him, send him there.
It looks like a sea of skin and tattoos.
Stop giving him English lessons at taxpayers' expense in Mountjoy prison. If criminals thought they might be sent to that facility, I think they might think twice about, number one, even coming to Ireland, which is a good start, and number two, doing wrong by us, the Irish. Now, Jim, if I may call you Jim, I'm quite prepared to go on your behalf, on the country's behalf, free gratis, free of charge. I wouldn't charge a penny. Over to meet President Bukele and hammer out a deal, a good deal for the taxpayer. Now, of course, you won't call me because you're too caught up in the system, and that's why I say constantly, all these people have to go. They're all creatures of the swamp, and a swamp it is. Yes, early release for dangerous people. Who are you going to let out next? Irish prison system? The Pushkas, possibly? Will Joseph Pushka be saying, listen, we just don't have room for you anymore. We're going to have to let you back out on the streets so you can cycle around, perving and possibly murdering other women. That's where we're at, guys. That's how bad it's got. This can't go on. We don't have to live like this.